You're listening to HBCU Corner with the Urban Sports Scene. I'm Wole, and I'm joined by my guy Ray Jeezy. What's good, Ray Jeezy?
Everything, brother. This is the end of the season for HBCU football. So Wole had to step in at the very end of the season.
Hey man, look man, you stay putting me on blast. That's what's up, bro. I
with an
appreciate it.
HBCU shirt or with an
Yeah,
HBCU shirt on.
exactly.
He
Hey man,
representing.
look. It's the movement, bro. I stepped up with a bunch of HBCU interviews, bro. I stepped up.
Nah. You did. We know you got HBCU love. You're just a busy man. That's all it is. You're Commanders first. Then comes HBCU somewhere like third.
I'm hustle first. Let's keep it a buck. I'm hustle first. HBCU Corner is also part of Black Sports Insiders. You make sure you check us out there as well. You can also check us out on our website, which is www.urbansportscene.com. Like Ray mentioned, the Celebration Bowl, we talking about HBCU talk. Celebration Bowl goes down Saturday in an ATL between Jackson State and South Carolina State. We got a cool guest to join us to shoot the breeze. Before we talk about that, let's handle some particulars. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search the Urban Sports Scene.
And also, if you watch on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button. We'll let you smiling, bro. Listen, if you feel so moved, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, man. Rock with the Urban Sports Scene. We talk so many different sports, though, man. Boxing, HBCUs, man. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you on X, also hit over to YouTube, do the same thing. Continue to follow us on all social media platforms. I know you said that, but I'm gonna keep on putting it out there, man. My man Wole, he that's what he does. He markets.
Thank you, man.
For
Appreciate
sure.
you, bro. Appreciate you. Hey, don't forget to tweet us at Urban Sports Scene. Hit us up on IG and TikTok at Urban Sports Scene. I stole it from you. I like our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. That's too much work for you. That's why I had to steal that for you.
That's all good. Also, join the Urban Sports Scene Facebook group. Just search Urban Sports Scene, sports bloggers, sports podcasters, and sports debates. Yes, indeed. And also, no, we're not talking about football garbage time right now. See,
We're not.
I,
That's
I
why.
don't read this. But anyway, we got a special guest, as Wole mentioned, joining us from Locked On HBCU, Darrion Gray. Welcome to the Urban Sports Scene. Talking Celebration Bowl Day. It's gonna be special, fam. He's
What's
cool,
going
even though
on,
he's a
fellas?
Saints fan. What's good, man?
Oh yeah, I represent everything with me now. I represent everything with me. I'm gonna make a little joke we had off camera. I don't have to pull my team away. You know, I ain't got to go off camera to go get my team. I ain't hiding. I'm just saying, everything with me is. I got my name right here. I got my team right here. I got my school right here. I got myself right here. It's all on Front Street with me.
Hey, man, I feel bad. I feel like I should have rocked my UMES, like my UMES hoodie and shirt. Now I feel kind of bad.
I know I can't even throw shade at him, man. But I know Andrew Body. I know he got a body there for a reason, though. So we ain't got football though, so you got me on that one.
Yeah, we don't got football. Yeah, we don't got no football team, which is like a blower. That's a whole different discussion.
Hey,
but before we get into the go ahead, Ray. What you want to say, Ray?
I said the coaching search, Andre Johnson. What happened with that? Fred McNair, all that stuff, man.
Man, that was crazy. From everything what it seemed, it was, in my opinion, people who had no business trying to make decisions, getting in the middle of business decisions. And that's how you end up. You got one side saying Andre Johnson, one side saying Fred McNair. Neither one of the sides really budging. So then it seemed like both sides just dropped out. And now you have to find a new candidate. They go with Chris Dishman. But however, let me add this. Because sometimes when you complain or you talk about what you didn't get, you don't show the appreciation for what you did get. Chris Dishman did go 500 in SWAC play in his first year. So I do want to credit him for that. And not just talk about Fred McNair not coming, because then I would kind of discredit what Dishman was able to accomplish. So I do want to show love to him as well.
Yeah, I like Chris Dishman. I mean, I watched him growing up, so I know all about Chris Dishman. So before we get into the Celebration Bowl, I would like to, let our viewers and listeners know about Locked On HBCU Podcast.
Well, I've been with the Locked On Network for a little bit more than 3 years. I think I had my 3-year anniversary in November, late November, something like that, right? Yeah, we talking everything HBCU athletics. We keep it super football during football season, and that's my sport. So we still try to sprinkle it in, even when it's not football season. But we're gonna start transitioning into basketball soon, right? SWAC hoops, MEAC hoops. We got some teams in the CAA, and then you also got Tennessee State in the Big South as well. So we're gonna be doing it all. But right now, we're super football focused, especially with the HBCU Super Bowl happening right now. It's the Celebration Bowl. So, that's what we're talking about.
I know, right? I wish we had a football team, bro. I wish we
Man,
did.
it hurts my heart, man. I tell you, I cover like Morgan and Howard, and every time I'm at Morgan, I'm like, man, I know we can do this. Delaware
Just wish
State,
we had
come
one.
on now. Yeah, I'll take anything. Come on, we can play on the high school field. I don't care what it is. Just give us a football team, man. Dang, come on. But the MEAC's getting ready to come up, though. I'm telling you, we hopefully get Tennessee State, Morehouse, Hampton back. MEAC's gonna come back soon, and the MEAC runs the Celebration Bowl, so
that's what's been. But I'm a SWAC guy, so we rooting for JSU right now. I'm not one of those guys who's super divisive, man. When it comes to this time, I'm rooting for the SWAC. So, but we gonna keep it. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I am rooting for the SWAC, though. It's out there.
No, it's cool. No, it's cool.
I'm super objective.
Because Ray's rooting for the MEAC too.
Yeah,
like, I'm the most neutral person over. I'm the most neutral person here. Though.
Nah, you loyal to a player.
I'm loyal to a kid from Jackson State. I am loyal to a kid who plays for Jackson State.
There you go. Welcome to my team. But yeah, I'm super objective about it though, right? Like I'm extremely objective right now. If you have to ask me, I think that they're very even. But the matchups that I'm looking at the most, I feel like South Carolina State has the edge in. So if you ask me who I'm leaning towards, if you force me to pick, I would pick South Carolina State. And I only throw that out there so early to show how objective I am. I was thinking about saying it later. I'm not really big for projections and predictions and whatnot, but in general, I love the defensive line of South Carolina State. That duo of Broughton and Hall on the edge. You looking at that triumvirate and wide receiver between Carter, Smith, Brown, and High. I love some of the critical matchups that they possess, right? I just think that Jackson State, they have a strong offensive line. They have the best running back in Black college football. They have impact players on the defense themselves, right? So they have all these things that can even it out. But if you're saying lean this way or lean that way, I'll probably lean with the team that has the edge in quarterback, wide receiver, and edge rusher, because those are three of the premier positions in football.
See, Darrion, you're ahead of the game. You already knocked out a couple questions already, man. So I like that. I like that. Don't get it twisted. I do like that. So, but I'll get to one of my questions. And Celebration Bowl goes down Saturday. I already talked about all that. But before, I'm going to state this better. All right. So between the two teams, before the season started, right? Before the season started, did you expect either of these teams to be in this situation right now, being at the Celebration Bowl?
No, I expected the Celebration Bowl to be a repeat of the Orange Blossom Classic. I thought it was going to be Alabama State versus North Carolina Central in Atlanta. That was my complete prediction. I thought that Andrew Body, he ended up getting hurt, but I thought that Andrew Body would have elevated Alabama State to being the best team in the SWAC. I thought that North Carolina Central was going to be the best team because the MEAC is difficult to predict, and then the most difficult team to predict actually walks out of it. That's the funniest part, is the conference as a whole is just always, them? I thought it was going to be this team. And then you have the team that comes with a first-year head coach and has a bunch of new players coming into the team, and they just click instantly. Who could have projected that South Carolina State would have been the team that came out of this wild conference? And that's how it transpired. I think it's actually poetic.
Yeah, because it's real interesting because you had, I believe, South Carolina State was ranked 4th in preseason. And also you look at Jackson State, they were like 3rd, right? I think they were 3rd in the SWAC East. So just to know, like, I think Alabama State was favored to be the ones to come out of the SWAC, but just to see how it's all transpired, right? Just to have these two teams make it out and be pretty much dominant in their division, you know what I mean? Like, it says a lot.
It does. And fun fact, you haven't had a team go undefeated in the MEAC in forever. People don't realize that because you just don't really think about it. But there hasn't been a team who's went undefeated in conference play in a long time. And then for Jackson State, I thought that they had a couple of games that would have provided hiccups for them in FAMU and Alabama State. As time went on, FAMU wasn't what we thought they could be. I had no expectations. Let me not say that. I had no expectation for what FAMU was going to be. I think they had too much turnover for me to project anything, right? But you still expected that to be a game that'd be kind of competitive as the year went on, and it was, but it was more competitive than it should have been, right? And I think we'll get into that in a little bit. But Jackson State should have beat FAMU by more than they did. and then Alabama State. Everything changes when you lose your first quarterback, and then everything changes when you lose your second, but then your third, and then your fourth. People don't realize that because if you check out or you just tuned in late, you don't realize they had a guy who was a wide receiver on their roster playing quarterback. So not to take anything away from Jackson State, they still made plays. I had a lot of hope for that kid coming in. I won't be one of those guys who I think we in sports media have this thing where when it doesn't transpire the way we thought it should have transpired, all of a sudden we start changing narratives. Like you look at the Bears, everybody was saying Caleb Williams was walking into the best situation. He had all of these things. And then all of a sudden, man, you see, he had no help. But we weren't saying that before the year.
Good point.
And I'm not saying that that's false. I'm not saying that because some things don't transpire. Sometimes we think about a guy's going to be a talented wide receiver. He ends up being a dud. But coming into that game, I had a lot of hope for Kareem Key. And he just didn't deliver on that offensive side of the ball. So I'm not going to switch up narratives now that it's over.
So, Darrion, when we look at the coaching matchup, obviously we know who TC replaced at Jackson. So there was a ton of pressure on him, a lot of eyes on that program.
Yes.
And then on the flip side, you had Coach Berry, who was replacing a legend too. Not as big as Coach Prime, not as big of a name, but HBCU world, Coach Pugh's as big as they come. And both of them to be at this point is phenomenal. What I love about South Carolina State, and maybe this is a little biased, but early on, like the FAMU game, South Carolina State had that game in the bag. The Tennessee Tech game, they were leading big in the first half. The game tightened up in the second half. But now I feel like they're playing their best football. Both of these coaches have done a phenomenal job for the Jackson State Tigers to go 8-0 in conference play. I know they lost to Grambling, but we already know what that is. But still, I think these coaches have done a great job, and they've had to overcome so many different odds. They've had injuries as well on both teams. Eric Phoenix went down in that Morgan game, and everybody there thought, okay, Morgan's got a chance now. And still, 45-7 later, you're like, oh, wow. So my point is, who you think has the coaching edge, man? You got Coach Berry with a lot more experience. TC's a younger coach, but he's a dynamite coach. Who would you get a coaching edge to in this matchup?
Oh, man. There's a lot of things I thought was going to be asked. That wasn't one of them. Who has the coaching edge? Man, this is so difficult because they're both great coaches. And, when you start saying stuff like that, a cop-out's coming. But they're both great coaches, right? They're both intelligent. They're such different people. But I feel like if I were playing, this is how I'm going to do it. And like I said, the cop-out was coming. If I was playing, I'd want to play for Chennis Berry just because of the fire. Now, TC Taylor, cool as they come, though. They do completely. It's fire and ice.
Yeah.
I don't know. The coaching edge is so difficult. I'll say this. I feel like I'm gonna choose TC Taylor. I ain't gonna cop out. I like y'all, so I don't want to do the cop out on here. I want to TC Taylor, for what he was able to do going down quarterbacks and maneuvering with the quarterbacks, and he's the offensive side of the ball. And it feels like no matter what happens outside of a game or two, they just put up offense. That's just what they do. So I'll say that his specialty is offense. Chennis Berry's specialty is running the football. And because the passing game was better than the running attack, and this is so frivolous, excuse me for using that, I'm going to say TC's specialty was better this year. So I'm going to lean TC Taylor, even though I would love to play. I still have eligibility, coach.
HBCU Pass, he got a question. This is funny. Nah, this not even a question for real.
Oh, no, that's easy. That's Chennis.
Chennis Berry, of course.
Chennis Berry gives the best speeches ever. I swear.
Ever.
Like, and I think it's because of his voice. If we're gonna be honest, like he has a raspiness to his voice, a grit to his voice, and he has an intensity when he speaks. He has a megaphone just naturally attached to his body. Like when you hear him speak, you want to follow. And there's this. I don't even know what TC Taylor's pregame speech sounds like. I don't know what that's like. It feels like it's probably a tad bit cooler. It's probably a little bit more logical. You know, like you know what I mean? I don't mean any disrespect, but it's probably more so I get what you mean, coach, or I see how that is the case when Chennis Berry is telling you to kill a fly with a sledgehammer, you know, and it's an intensity aspect. So if you're trying to get pumped up, it's Chennis Berry. I don't even think that's a question.
I'll say this, shout out again to HBCU Pass. You know, that's family right there.
Yeah, love.
I feel like Coach Berry has more of an edge to him. Like he emphasized off camera after that Morgan when they locked up the MEAC, like a D2 coach. He kept saying it, not bad for a D2 coach. Like he feels like people are still doubting him, even though he has so much coaching history and he has such a dope resume. He's been everywhere, Southern, Howard. But he still feels doubted. And I think that factors in. I think his players feed off that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's an energy. Some guys are energy. I'll tell you another guy who's huge energy. Trey Oliver. I think Trey Oliver gives great speeches. When I hear Trey Oliver speak, I want to play. Like that's another one of the guys who I've always said, "Hey, coach, I got eligibility. I don't know what I can do for you on the field, but I can do something." And Trey Oliver, Chennis Berry, that's probably it. Who?
I said Connell Maynard. Remember what Wole was talking
about? Yeah, no, Connell Maynard was pretty good.
Ric Flair speeches before the game, bro.
Yeah, we had him on. He talked about his Ric Flair speeches.
I wouldn't mind kicking it with Connell Maynard. Honestly, he feels like he's got crazy stories. Like there's this guy in the DFW area. You might know him because he's been around. Chris Arnold. Y'all ever heard of Chris Arnold?
I haven't.
Okay, that's fine. Because I don't know how big he is outside of the area. I grew up here, so he has story for days. You know, he has stories for days, and that feels like what Connell Maynard is. Like I'm sitting down talking to him, we just enjoying something to eat, and all of a sudden he's breaking out a story from Any Given Sunday. Like, you know, I think that he's a storyful guy.
Yeah, Coach Pugh's kind of hilarious too in his own little way.
He's
in his own little way. He's kind of funny.
But if we talking pregame speeches, though, you hit the nail on the head. Real talk, man. Chennis Berry's at the top of that list for me as well. I don't think you can argue. Trey Oliver, he makes you want to hate the other team, though. You know, versus like Chennis Berry he's motivational and he just gives you that confidence that you can go out and do whatever you want to do. Just go 1-0. It's so simple. We're gonna go 1-0 this week. That's all we doing.
Love it.
So Darrion, I watched your show with Blitz City's Kobe, and that was a good episode. Real good episode, bro.
Thank you. I loved it. It was fun.
I got a lot of insight in terms of South Carolina State, to be real with you. But I do want to talk about the wide receiving core that you mentioned earlier. Just you got guys who are on the bridge of being 1,000. All three are on the bridge of being 1,000 yards. Like they're close enough. Obviously, the ball spread, so you could tell the quality of each receiver. But how do you feel like that receiving group matches up against a Jackson State secondary, which has some hiccups in it? How would you say it match up against that wide receiving core? I mean that secondary.
I think South Carolina State has the edge. Yeah. It's difficult to say. I would have liked to seen them against an Alabama State.
Yeah,
I think that would have been good. I think that Alabama State has a really good secondary. But it's hard to find a team that's going to match up with three wide receivers. It's not easy to do. There's not many teams on any level that are matching up with three wide receivers. I just don't care who you are. We can talk on a professional rank. Everything moves by, proportions and whatnot. But three really good wide receivers on the NFL level is going to be difficult for any secondary, just like it is on the FBS level or the FCS level or the D2 level or high school. It doesn't matter. You have three of them, because how many people really have three corners who can go toe to toe with every single one of them? I don't know. I think you're going to have to heat up Eric Phoenix. You're going to have to cover long enough for your defensive line to get there. That's not a good battle. That is not a good battle for Jackson State. It's one that they can compete in, but I don't know if they win it, I'd be surprised. I think you're going to have a couple of plays that are going to happen for sure. So for you in that matchup, what would you say is the key? Would it be more the D line for Jackson State against the O line for South Carolina State, knowing that the fear of holding up in coverage when you're going against three dogs at wide receiver? I'll say this: no, I think the more important part is the defensive backs, because they have the ability to uncover quick. South Carolina State's wide receivers. They have the ability to uncover quick. But another thing that they do, especially with Caden High, is High will get the ball behind the line of scrimmage, 1 yard in front of the line of scrimmage, and all of a sudden it's a 25-yard play. So you have to tackle. And with that, I look at a guy like Robert McDaniel, who does so much for that Jackson State defense. He does so much. He gets tackles for a loss. He gets sacks. He gets pass breakups. He had 2 interceptions in the SWAC championship game. He was a SWAC the SWAC championship defensive player of the game. He's a very talented cornerback. He's a very talented player, right? He's a versatile secondary piece. So he's a very talented defensive back. I do think that they can hang with the unit. The thing is, how long? You have to hold on long enough for your defensive line to get there. So it's a partnership for sure. I know we say that in every game, but some games it's truly a partnership, and this is one of them. You can't hang on forever. And then South Carolina State also has a good offensive line, so you got to win. You have to win on one of those matchups to give the other one more time.
So on the flip side, we just talked about South Carolina State and their offense. On the flip side, we just talk about Jackson State's offense, and you're looking at just the offensive player of the year in Irv Mulligan and the SWAC. So how would you say South Carolina State's defense matches up against a guy who doesn't get tackled off the first hit? He's a guy that you got to gang tackle him to get him down. So how do they match up against that type of running back?
I would say that Jackson State also, I think they have the edge in that too. I don't think it's as wide as the wide receiver matchup, but I do think that Jackson State has the edge here. And if Irv Mulligan can have a good game, that's the way that Jackson State wins. But to the point of how do they match up, they have a good front line. They have a good front line, and they have athletic linebackers. The reason I stress the athletic part is because Irv Mulligan is a player who you have to get to with multiple players. You can't. I love Aaron Smith, and sometimes Aaron Smith is going to take down Irv Mulligan by himself, but sometimes he's not. So you got to have Jones come in. You got to have Addison coming in from up top, right? You have to have multiple players. If Jackson State's offensive line can win this matchup, that'll be the most important part. If Jackson State's offensive line can win this matchup, I expect Irv Mulligan to get regular 3, 4, 5 yard carries. And now the offense is really flowing. And it's important to remember, we're in a day and age where everybody wants to pass the football, which is the reason why I think South Carolina State's offense looks better because they air it out. They're highlighted by their wide receivers. They're highlighted by their quarterback. Jackson State is highlighted by their running game, and they are not an offense that wants to air it out. But Jacoby Morgan can do it.
Yeah.
Fortillion can catch. Spencer can catch. Fortillion in the red zone is a beast, right? Like him and Spencer have a similar amount of yards, but Fortillion is the best wide receiver to me because he has more red zone, more touchdown.
I think like 9 touchdowns, I think. I believe
9 touchdowns.
Yeah, 9 touchdowns. Yeah.
So it sometimes when we stress Irv Mulligan and how good he is, I think sometimes we forget that the passing attack is solid too. It's not the level of South Carolina State. It's not the level of Jackson State's running game, but they can pass the ball at Jackson State. So I say these things, and as I'm talking, I feel myself being more pro South Carolina State. And like I said, I think they have the edge, but don't get it twisted. I'm leaning towards South Carolina State. I'm not all the way on that side. I think it's a very close game. And if a couple of plays go here, a couple of plays go there, it's not going to take much for Jackson State to come out with this game. It is not. It's not a wide margin at all.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's the fun part about all this. And you answered my question already. But Wole, remember we were joking with X, Sayers Guthrie, when he was saying, I strike in practice. I'm like, oh, you tackling Irv? He said, nah. He said, I'm going up against other defensive players, and we hitting each other. He said, nah, I'm not tackling him. So it speaks to how good Irv Mulligan is. And South Carolina State, I told you, Wole, beforehand, I feel like their offensive line is so good. And they just good up front in general. Elijah Williams, who plays for Morgan State, I think he's one of the best defensive players in all of FCS.
Yes.
Probably going to play at the next level, but you didn't hear his name. And this was a home game for Morgan. You did not hear his name when he went up against that offensive line for South Carolina State. So it's going to be a chess match, but I think it's going to be close. I really, really do. Because South Carolina State and Jackson State, to me, they're so similar in ways as well. I know we're talking about how one may be better than the other in certain areas, but they're also so similar. They don't always blow people out it takes time. They're like that puncher, death by 1,000 punches. But once they get you, man, it's a wrap. You know. Versus remember the Shador Jackson State Tigers, you were done early. It was over. So it's gonna be dope to see how this game turns out. And I'm objective with you though, bro. Real talk. Like,
and let me say this real quick.
Go ahead.
Let me say this quick. When you run the football, that happens, right? Like Shador's Jackson State, they were airing it out, so they was able to get up on you quick. They want to run and wear you down. And you were listening to the episode with Kobe from yesterday.
Yeah.
By the way, when we finish this, I got one with Jackson State.
Yeah, no, I peeped the series.
And Clark. So for everybody who's here, once we wrap up, you go ahead and go over there.
Yeah, go there.
Yeah, my face will be a little bit bigger on that screen. You know what I'm saying? So show me some love. But we were talking about just make it being funny. I forgot my train of thought. What I was saying.
You talking about you were talking about.
Oh, you said Shador Jackson State aired it out. Yeah,
okay, so Jackson State, they want to run the ball and they want to wear you down. And Kobe, who was on yesterday's episode, he was talking about how Irv Mulligan gets better as the game goes on. And that looks like Jackson State, where that's the thing. We talk about Irv Mulligan, but they can throw the football too. I want to stress that so much. And sometimes they start out slow, but it just seems like they get to 30. It don't matter what happens. They get to 30. If they're not facing ULM, Grambling, where they threw buku interceptions, had like 5 turnovers, right? Or if they're not facing Alabama State, the best defense in black college football, we're talking about a 30-point offense in every other game at least. And notice I said an FBS team, a game where they had 5 turnovers in the best defense in black college football. So we have to remember this. I don't want to leave out that passing attack because they do have really good skill weapons on the outside.
Russell Haynes had a comment, says you told him Irv from South Carolina, so we know how to slow him down.
All right. We'll see. Some tells me when he was in South Carolina, they weren't slowing him down either.
That
dude is a beast.
Yeah,
that dude is a beast. We'll see, because you know what, they faced Jamari Taylor, and people are probably talking about that matchup very similarly. So we will see. But I think that Irv Mulligan just so physical. He's just so physical, and he has breakaway speed. You don't want to give him a crease. There's not a part where he lacks, and they don't use him much, but he's a solid receiver out of the backfield too. They use more so Travis Terrell for that. Logically, it makes sense. He's very skilled at that, but Irv can do it too. So man, this all right. We're gonna see. We are going to see. Somebody's got to break. So
we just talk about scenarios and whatnot. But say if TC Taylor wins, say if Jackson State wins, how, and knowing that what he had to deal with after, when Deion was, after Deion left and whatnot, trying to kind of live up to that type of hype or whatever, what would winning the Celebration Bowl do for his image, or his, I won't say legacy, but for his image?
On what level? Because I think there's 2 different answers.
Okay.
On an HBCU level, I feel like it would probably solidify him to some, just for as a head coach, but I don't think it's a shadow. I think the Deion Sanders shadow exists with 2 people, those who are maybe 3 people, those who love Deion, right? And that's okay. I've come to grips with everything in that, to where I don't feel the need to take shots or anything. So those who love Deion, those who are probably a little bit more FBS, maybe not all the way in the swag, and then also people who just like to trash Jackson State. But if you're just objectively speaking, I think that getting here in year 2, there's no more Deion shadow. I just think that it's just a good coach at this point. Like, he's just a really talented coach, and you have to give him his credit for that. So it's an interesting one, but I don't think the shadow is, I don't think it looms as large anymore. Maybe if he would have struggled for some years, but he got here in year 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the whole Deion made Jackson State thing, yeah, we done with that, buddy. It's over. There's no more Jackson State was made by Deion. I don't think it was already a flawed statement, but now it's downright. It's hating at that point. You just hating for no reason, in my opinion.
So does it, like, if he wins, it's like, all right, Deion didn't do what I did. Is it like that type of look? That's something like, is it that look?
they wouldn't say that.
Okay.
They wouldn't say that.
Okay.
But then the people who are anti-Deion, who maybe don't even have anything to do with Jackson State, they would say it.
Got you.
And that will be something you'll hear. But I think from everything I hear, they got mad love for Deion. They have a lot of love for Deion there. It's not what it looks like from people who weren't in the situation.
Got you.
I'm sure some of the comments from some of the things that we don't really need to rehash rubbed some of them the wrong way, of course, because, Jackson State started getting painted in a certain light that I wasn't a fan of, and I'm sure they weren't a fan of. But overall, for Deion and what he was at the time that he was there and what he was able to do, I don't think there's any ill will. So I ain't gonna stir that pot for real.
I did.
Hey, one more question for me, bro, and we gotta let you get out of here.
Yeah.
I just want to get your thoughts on what attendance is going to look like, and also viewership.
My bad. I thought that's where he was going with it. I thought that's where you was going with it.
He ready though. He ready.
I was ready. My fault.
Nah, I don't know what you ready for, man. That ship is sailed. But anyway, I just want to say it's strategic this year. The time slot that the Celebration Bowl is going to be airing on TV. The whole purpose is to get the shine on this game to where it's not affected by the NFL or any other bowl games. So what do you expect viewership to look like? And then attendance has been great, especially in the SWAC all season. Just what are your thoughts about that and where the Celebration Bowl has come since its existence?
I think everything trends up. This wasn't a late change.
Nope.
I would have to look at the numbers to be exact, but I feel like it's been trending up for a while. I don't think that it's really been dipping attendance or viewership wise. I think that this is a very focused event. And that's one of the beautiful things about HBCU events like this is that it is focused. You have artists who have, and I know this is kind of like a weird pivot, but follow me. You have artists, musical artists who have real followings where they don't need a hit song, right? Like I don't need to have the song of the summer for a guy like Big Crit. I think Big Crit has a true following that's going to follow him no matter where he goes. Some artists flash in the pan. I'm not going to take any shots at them, but like there's artists who have a hit, but they don't have a core fan base. So when those hits aren't coming, it's gone. With the HBCU Celebration Bowl or the SWAC MEAC Challenge, it's a core audience. These are people who want to see. And then the time slot allows those who are itching for football to come in as well. So with that being the case, there's nothing else over the top of it. So I think you'll still have those guys and those girls who are falling in, and you'll still have the core HBCU people who are attending and watching. So I can only imagine that it'll either stay the same or go up.
See, Darrion, I knew I liked you for a reason. When you mentioned Big Crit, it was a wrap. You know what I'm saying? That's when I knew it. That's why I knew that you my type of guy.
Hey, look,
as soon as you said that, I was like, this is my dude right now.
Like, I feel like Crit's a real Southern guy. Like, and as the mouth of the South, I gotta put on, if I'm gonna get a chance to, he's the Southern artist. Yeah. He's him. That's our guy. We have other artists from the South. I don't know. I ain't gonna get into it because people have different ideas of where the South is. But Mississippi, that's the South. That's Big Crit, man. Southern as it could be. So, love the Crit, man.
See, gotta get him back on, Ray. Not gonna lie to you. Once you mention Crit, you're a winner, bro. Ain't gonna hold you.
I knew it. So I go home happy now.
Before we let you go, bro, like we appreciate you being here, dropping knowledge to us and for our viewers and listeners. Hey, make sure you plug your socials, the show, everything. The floor is yours.
Man, you can follow me on Twitter at South Exclusives. You can follow me on Instagram at _Mouth of the South. We're trying to get that thing popping again. I also write for Saints Wire. So the jokes that we throw about the Saints and everything, Ray is a closeted Atlanta Falcons fan, which all Falcons fans should be closeted. So I do not blame him for that. And you shouldn't either. You should not either. Do not judge him. You know, what's that little trend? We listen, we don't judge. I listen, I don't judge. Be a Falcon fan in quiet, in peace. But that's okay. I write for Saints Wire. I have an Instagram account where I break down HBCU athletics, where I break down Saints athletics. I love doing these type of things. I love running into Falcon fans because it's just a natural, playful, trash talk that we can instantly get into. It doesn't matter that my team sucks because his is on a 4-game losing streak and just lost every hope of, like, they had the NFC South all together, and he knows he's got to just take that. Like, he has to just take what I said, and he's just going to tell me, hey, y'all are bad. And it's just like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow, but I love that. But anyway, we got a little bit off track, but I wanted to. South Exclusives on Twitter, @_Mouth of the South on Instagram. You can follow me at Saints Wire, and me and the whole team. I think we all do phenomenal work. So come check out that as well. And then you can catch me on Locked On HBCU, wherever you listen to your podcast or wherever you see your podcast. Like I said, we on live right now with Ken Clark. So technically live. I spilled the secret. I'm here with y'all, but yeah, I recorded it. It's up. It's up, man. So y'all go ahead and check that out. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Russell Haynes, Lou Patterson, GHZ28, and HBCU Pass 2 times on here. So I appreciate y'all.
Oh man, appreciate you, man. You have a blessing, bro. We're gonna get you back. We're gonna talk ball. We're gonna talk some basketball once you get that loaded. So we there for it.
Let's do it. Also, be on the lookout if you do start following Locked On HBCU. I think I'm gonna do a seasoning review for every HBCU in the football landscape. So be on the lookout for that. I think we're gonna do that once this Celebration Bowl buzz dies down. We're gonna keep football alive. So thank y'all again, though.
Sounds good. Hey, thank you.
Just followed your IG. I just followed your IG.
Yeah.
Love, man.
You already got my I subscribe to on YouTube. I'll subscribe.
It's been a minute for me. And on X, it's been a while too. It's been a while actually because you had one of my interviews years ago. You may not remember Trey Oliver, MEAC Media Day. He was talking about how they put 50 on Howard, man. Everybody was talking about it, and you was one of them, man. We connected back then. And like I said, you won't remember. That's how you know I don't care about the same stuff for real. You feel me?
As you should. I love it, man. I love it, man. Have fun failing and plummeting. We right there with you. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy your quarterback who hasn't thrown a touchdown in 4 weeks, but throwing mad in the
What's happening?
You know what I mean? Enjoy your kicker who missed 3 field goals against the Saints and is having the worst year of his career. Enjoy your 2 first-round picks who ain't all that great, but enjoy that. I want the best.
I love this. I love this rivalry.
Enjoy signing Matt Judon, thinking that he was gonna be the savior at edge rusher. And
nah, we ain't think it was gonna be the savior. Listen. I'm not happy with Terry Fontenot. I think he can go, as you can tell. Just look at everything you said. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I don't know. That's from an Aints fan. Y'all like my man said. Y'all top 4 quarterbacks are Archie Manning, Bobby Hebert, Aaron Brooks, and Drew Brees. Drew Brees, obviously, we know who he is, but that's not a good list. I'm not saying Atlanta has a bad list, but Michael Vick is on our list. So
okay. So you know who your best quarterback in franchise history is, and you know what he did.
Chris Chandler.
I love it. I'm joking, man.
Matt Ryan was real. Matt Ryan was great. Don't hate.
I'll sign out here, and I don't know. It's not my show, so I can't really say we'll sign out, but I'll try it.
Sign out.
I want y'all to know this one thing about Falcon fans. They might have been all right at science. They might have been all right at math because you ain't have to count up to but 0 to know how many Super Bowl wins that they got. They might have been even good at history. But one thing they was never good at was English. That's why they keep saying ain't this, ain't that. They can't read the first S. And they been trying to clown us when really they just illiterate. I don't know how this kept falling back on us. I don't get it, but it's okay. Sometimes them kids in school, sometimes you can be like, Lil Ray, we get you. Yeah, that's right. All right, next segment.
I miss Reggie Bush. And thanks for Chase Young too. We you took him off our hands over here, so appreciate that one as well, bro.
Hey, go ahead, Chase Young. He's local. He's one of us. Though. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
He's all pressure, no sacks.
See, when you put the pressure on a Falcon fan, they start panicking. He forgot where he was at. You know what I'm saying? You can't be talking about him, man.
We local.
Nah, Chase, that's my guy. Everybody who follows know that's my guy. But appreciate you though, brother. Real talk.
Nah, man. Real talk. I appreciate y'all love, man. Y'all take care of y'all, and I'll continue checking in with you guys, and y'all keep me in y'all thoughts. I would love to be back.
Definitely. It's a given, bro. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
All right, man. I'll have new material next time I see y'all.
All right, man.
All right, man.
Awesome, man. That was dope, bro. That was dope. See, I picked good ones, man. He said Big Crit was a rap, dog. I ain't gonna hold you. Soon as he said Crit was a rap.
You went to a Big Crit concert a couple
years
back.
I went to a lot of Big Crit concerts, bro. Like a lot. Like a lot.
You got it, brother. You got that. That's your guy. As soon as he said, I knew you were going to get excited.
I know you already know what time it is, bro. But it was dope, man. So we had good attendance for this, man. It was awesome, bro.
Yeah, I'm interested to watch this interview with Ken Clark. I mean, obviously that's the Jackson State side of things. Jackson State is very confident as a fan base, and they should be. But South Carolina State is scary, brother. I feel like they've gotten so good to where they don't have any weaknesses right now, in my opinion. That's just what I told you that. I said to start the season, we saw how like they let FAMU back in that game, even Tennessee Tech, but now, nah, they out for blood, and they got.
We'll see. I mean, they both got a common
the MEAC
opponent.
Coach of the Year.
What about this? It's gonna be an interesting game. Like
it's gonna be a dope. It's gonna be a dope game, man.
Yeah,
they both got a common opponent. Who wins though.
They both got a common opponent in FAMU. But again, I think there was a little bit. They played FAMU early in the season, so that's not fair.
Yeah, that was South Carolina State's first game.
Yeah, first game, so it's not fair. While Jackson State played them in the middle of the season, which you typically.
But that was the game. I told X that second half against FAMU is when I feel like they turned a corner, and like he said, that anger came out of them in that second half because they had heard enough, and they wanted to take out their frustrations on FAMU, and they did that. You hear that HBCU pass? They did that.
What did he say?
He was loving FAMU back then. That's when we had our fun little back and forth, But my man Mel keeps receipts too, so I gotta be careful what I say.
All right, about time to end the show off. Subscribe to Sunday at 7:30. Tune into our Commander Saints recap show. It'll be streaming live on our YouTube, X, IG, and Facebook account. I'll have a guest for that. I don't know which guest we're gonna have, but I'll have a guest for that. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search the Urban Sports Scene. Also follow us on X, Urban Sports Scene IG, and TikTok at Urban Sports Scene, and like our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. If you're on YouTube right now and you are a first-time viewer of our YouTube channel, hit that red subscribe button. Also like this video. As y'all can tell, we got HBCU content. We big in here on HBCU content. So make sure you subscribe and hit that like button. I mean, and if you're just getting this now in football season, best believe get us in basketball season because we on point. We tapping in. We got a bunch of coaches lined up to be interviewed. We got some players on deck too as well. And also we got a couple more HBCU football players that we're trying to lock into. So make sure you tune in. You lock into our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We got, if you haven't checked out the playlist, it's called HBCU Corner playlist on our YouTube channel. So that's where all our HBCU content is being displayed. So again, check in, lock into us, man. Anyway, this has been dope. I love this. I love this interview. I love the whole session, the preview of the Celebration Bowl. Ryan, what's your prediction, bro? Who you got winning?
Oh man, I was hoping we was going to end without you asking me that because I really have a hard time. For obvious reason, because of what we already discussed, and also we got big love for X. I would love for him to end his college career with the championship. But at the same time, Chennisberry has that team playing. I got South Carolina State. I'm gonna go 30-27.
It's gonna be a close game. I think the difference will be Irv, Mulligan. So I think ball control is going to be important, to be real with you, because you have the better running backs, so typically you're going to try to keep that offense off the field. I think it's important because like Darrion said, that South Carolina State offense is explosive with those three wide receivers. So I just feel like you have I think Irv Mulligan will be the star of the game. I feel like they'll play the ball control game, clock up the time possession. They win that matchup, keeping that offense off the field. So I'll say Jackson State 24, South Carolina State 20.
Now, if it is a blowout though, that's gonna be South Carolina State. I'm telling you now. We expecting a close game, but if it's gonna be a blowout, I would be shocked if Jackson State blows them out. I doubt that. If it's gonna be a blowout, South Carolina State will blow them out. That's my thought. But I'm going with you. I think it's gonna be decided by less than a touchdown. And either team can win. Both great teams. And this is the matchup we all want to see. And I asked that question because I want this game to do numbers, man. We should minimum 2 to 3 million should be tuning in 12 noon Saturday. Support your HBCUs, no matter what school you went to, no matter what rivalry you're part of. This is gonna be a great game. And you got two great coaches, man, who've overcome so much. Shout out to both institutions.
Yep.
We love y'all.
Definitely. Anyway, you all been listening to the Urban Sports Scene for ages. You dig? Deuces. And like Ray said, make sure you check out this big game. Like, support y'all, man. We always talk about supporting our own. Support our own, man. It's our school, support our own. We talking about our own. We ain't talking about the Falcons. The Falcons aren't our own. All right, y'all. Deuces, we out, man.
Peace.